So let's talk about a problem that's popping up everywhere. You see these incredible demos of AI agents, right? They look amazing, but then when they hit the real world, they just fall apart. Why does that happen? Well, it usually comes down to one thing. People are skipping steps. Today, we're going to walk you through a disciplined 10-phase roadmap. This isn't theory. This is from experts who build AI that actually works out in the field. This is the blueprint for building AI with real value. Picture this. It's 2024, and a startup in Lagos, Nigeria, creates this AI agent. It can book your flights, manage your calendar, send emails. I mean, in the demos, it was flawless, absolutely perfect. But then they deployed it in a real-world clinic. And within 72 hours, it completely crashed. And this isn't just some one-off story. It's a cautionary tale we see playing out over and over again, showing the massive gap between a controlled demo and the chaos of reality.
So the big question is, why? Why did it fail so spectacularly? Well, the team made a classic mistake. They skipped a critical step. They never learned how to properly instruct their agent. They treated it like a simple chatbot, you see, not the complex system it actually was. A system with its own memory, its own tools, its own defined role. So they built something that could talk a good game, but it couldn't reason or act reliably when things got tough. That one mistake cost them everything.
Look, this kind of failure is incredibly common. But here's the thing, it's almost always preventable. That's why today, we're going to break down the 10 phases to Master Agentic AI. And this isn't some abstract academic idea. This is a real-world roadmap used to build agents that can handle real-world problems. Things like power outages or users who are skeptical. It's the discipline that separates the stuff that just looks cool from the stuff that actually adds value.
Okay, this is probably the most important philosophy you need to adopt right now. Agentic AI is not just another feature you can bolt onto your app. It's a system, and systems have to be built in phases. If you just treat it like a cool new toy, you are absolutely setting yourself up to fail. You've got to respect the complexity and build it with intention. So together, we're going to climb all 10 of these non-negotiable phases one by one.
All right, let's dive in. We're starting with the foundation, the blueprint. The first 3 phases are all about understanding what an agent really is, what its essential parts are, and, critically, how to give it instructions that actually lead to something useful. Getting this part right is what prevents all the chaos later on. Phase 1 is maybe the most fundamental. You have to understand that an agent is not a chatbot. So many failures start right here, with this simple misunderstanding. A chatbot answers your questions. An agent does things. It books the flight. It sends the email. It changes the thermostat. It performs actual tasks. A core principle for new AI engineers is this. An agent is a worker, not a writer. If you confuse those two, you'll build something that talks a lot but never actually does anything.
So if it's not a chatbot, what is it? Well, an agent is a complete system with 5 key parts all working together. You've got the large language model, the LLM, that's the brain. You've got prompts, those are the instructions. You've got tools which allow it to take action. It's got memory for context, and it all operates within an environment, the digital or physical space where it does its work. Getting that systemic view is the first real step toward building something that lasts.
Now for phase 2, really learning those 5 core components. The LLM is the brain, right? Think GPT-4, Claude, something like that. The prompts are its job description. The tools are the actions it can perform, APIs, calculators, anything it can connect to. Memory is, well, what it remembers, and the environment is its office. To make it super clear, just think of a clinic. The LLM is the doctor, the one doing the reasoning. The tools, that's the nurse and the lab tech, the ones executing tasks. The memory is the patient's chart, and the environment is the clinic itself. If you don't know what each part does, you have no chance of fixing it when it breaks. All right, phase 3. This is a big one. This is where so many teams stumble. It's learning how to prompt an agent. And let me be clear, this is not a creative writing exercise. It's a technical specification. You have to define 4 things every time. The role, who is the agent? The goal, what's its mission? The tools, what can it use to get the job done? And the output, what format does the final answer need to be in? An agent without those instructions is just a worker without a job description. It's lost. Okay, we've covered the theory. Now we get to the fun part. We move from the blueprint to the actual build. The next set of phases is all about constructing your first agent and taking it from a simple instruction follower to a system that can remember, act, and see a whole workflow through to the end. This is where the blueprint becomes reality.
So let's talk about memory. An agent without memory is pretty much useless. It's like having amnesia every time you talk to it. Every single interaction is the first. You really need two types. You need short-term memory, just for the current conversation, and you need long-term memory, often using something like a vector database to remember past tasks. This is what makes personalization possible. It's what lets a loan agent, for example, remember your past applications. Memory is what turns a tool into a partner.
This next part is absolutely crucial. An agent can have the best brain in the world, but if it can't act, what's the point? It's just trapped in its own head. Tools are what turn thought into action. They're the hands of the agent. We're talking about things like connecting to a calendar API, checking a weather service, or processing a payment. Without tools, the LLM's brain can think, but it can't do a single thing in the real world.
And here's the thing, you can't just plug in a tool and hope for the best. You've got to be rigorous about it. You need a checklist for every single tool you integrate. You have to ask the hard questions. What are the rate limits? Is this connection secure? How do we handle it when this tool fails? And what's our fallback plan? Because an agent with brittle tools is just a thinker with glass hands. They're going to break.
So, now we have a single agent that can think, it can remember, and it can act. It's solid. But before we think about going big, we have to scale up intelligently. It's time to go from a single worker to an entire team. This is where AI systems become truly powerful, when you move from one agent to many, all working together.
Once your single agent is reliable, you're ready for phase 8, building multi-agent systems. You see, one agent is just a worker, but a group of agents, that's a team. The trick is to assign specialized roles. You might have a planner agent, who's like the project manager, breaking down a big goal into smaller tasks. Then you have an executor agent, the one who actually does the work using the tools. And finally, you have a critic agent, who's like quality control, reviewing the output. It's a brilliant way to manage complexity.
This brings us to phase 9, deployment and monitoring. Now listen to me on this. Deployment is not the finish line. It is the starting line of active management. From the very first day your agent is live, you need 3 essential systems in place. First, performance monitoring for latency, token usage, things like that. Second, robust logging and alerts, so you know immediately when something goes wrong. And third, strict safety rules, like rate limits to make sure your agent is acting responsibly.
You know, an unmonitored agent fails silently. You won't even know it's broken until it's too late. The answer is to run regular agent health checks. You should constantly be asking 4 questions. Is it running? Is it fast enough? Is it safe and secure? And, importantly, is it learning and getting better over time? You have to keep your finger on the pulse, because deployment without monitoring isn't deployment, it's abandonment.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, from the blueprint all the way to deployment. But the final step, phase 10, isn't about technology. It's about a mindset. It's about adopting the builder's discipline. This is the philosophy that holds all the other steps together, and it's what separates the hobbyists from the professionals who build things that actually last. So what is phase 10? It's the commitment to constantly iterate and improve. It's about creating that feedback loop where you learn from what's happening in the real world, you refine your prompts, and you make the agent better, day by day. You know, while everyone else is chasing the hype of AGI, the best builders are quietly focused on making useful, efficient, human-centered agents, one phase at a time. The challenge is simple. Don't skip the phases. Climb them, deliberately. Because in the end, it all comes down to this. The most powerful AI isn't the fastest one. It's not the one with the most parameters or the flashiest demo. It's the most disciplined one. It's the one that was built methodically, tested with rigor, and deployed responsibly. It's the AI that you can count on to work when it really matters, not just when the conditions are perfect. That is the standard we have to hold ourselves to. So there you have it. This 10-phase ladder is here for you to climb. It's the structure you need to turn a promising idea into a robust, real-world system. The roadmap is clear. The only question left is, what problem will you choose to solve with a discipline to build it wisely?